How's it going, everybody? It is Edwin from Crosscreek Lights. Today we are here to talk about our Halloween display for 2023. A lot of additions since last year, and it's going to be a really good year for us. So come along with me as we go ahead and check out what we have new. Sorry for any wind noise. It is really windy, and I'll try to edit it if possible. But let's go ahead. We're going to start off over here, and then we'll come back to this yard. So quite a lot new this year. First things first, we have these arches lining our sidewalk. These are 50 node each, so 25 per row, and we have 37 of them along here and then also over there. Actually 38 of them, and then we mounted them on EMT, 4 per EMT, so that's a section, and it goes all the way along, and then we have just some rebar to keep them there. Some of them are tipping over, but we're trying to we're gonna try to fix that soon, before Christmas. Coming up here, something that is new, as we have a dog here. This dog is just a blow mold prop, but these lights actually light up right here. And what we did is, I'll show you in a second, we have a relay controller that just is using the test me button, and it's just basically pressing that button essentially with the relay. And that's being controlled via DMX, so that's something we added new this year. And I'll show you the relay board in just a second. Also, we rebuilt our P5 panel. Last year we had it up there. We do have some condensation in there, so we're gonna have to drill some holes before Christmas time. But we have plexiglass in here, and then we used silicone and stuff. This is based on the Kyle Bostic Family Light Show design. He did a really nice design, and it's very slim. So that's why we moved it up this year. Also on the bottom, you can see we have power in and Ethernet. So it makes it super easy to disconnect, and then it's just a box with no cords. Next, we have 4 of the Boscoyo Studio rips. These are 100 node each. Next to them, in between them actually, we have the Boscoyo Studio spiders. Those are just along there. And you can probably tell there's this white pipe behind here, and you're wondering what that is. I'm going to show you in just a second. But this year we added fog to our display, and it's kind of added a lot here. Don't mind this wire. So we have 2 fog machines. This one is a DMX controlled fog machine off of Amazon. It was around 80 bucks. It's a no-name brand, but we drilled a hole for Ethernet that goes right into the DMX port right there. And then we have a power plug that just runs to the power, and then we just have a little hole for that. We only run it on the weekends because we run out of fog juice really quickly. Plus, we don't want to make our neighbors upset. So that's one of the boxes. And then we have 2-inch or 3-inch, 2-inch I think it is, pipe with a bunch of these holes drilled in it, and that makes it so it kind of spreads out. So it spreads out between all of them. Again, sorry for the wind noise if you can hear it. In between the fog machines, we have a Holiday Coral controller. This is a Hinks Pix Pro, I believe it is. I always say it wrong. But this is 16 channels. It has 4 differential ports. We're only using one of the differential ports though. So this is controlling all the arches, the rips, the spiders, and yeah, that's what that's controlling, plus some differential boards over there. The controller controlling the fog machines is actually backed by the arches, and we'll talk about that in a second. So yes, that's just the Holiday Coral controller. Let's go ahead and move over here. So this is where our second fog machine is, and this one we got at a rummage sale. It was 15 bucks, but it does not have DMX. So how we went around that is it did have a plug-in port, and I watched some videos, and if you two of the terminals, you have to look it up if you want to recreate this. If you put it together, it will trigger the fog machine like the remote control. So what I did is I have a relay board that is controlling it for the fog machine, and then this is what's also controlling the dog. So yeah, this is just another fog machine. This one we didn't do so fancy. We literally just like cut out this so the wires would run through. It's a small tote. We did drill a vent. But yeah, this one doesn't run all the time because it doesn't heat up as fast. But it just adds a little bit more smoke on some of the songs. Or fog, I should say. So let me go ahead and move this, if I can, out here. Okay, maybe I can. Okay. So in here, it's a mess because I didn't really do anything with it. But we have an Ethernet jack. This is where the DMX is coming in at. And then we have the relay board here. And this is just an RGB controller. This is similar to what I did with the floods. The DMX floodlights that I already used. But yeah, I'm just using 2 of the channels on here. And then I hooked up X-Connect ends just so I can make it easy for myself to hook up power. But all it's doing is basically closing the loop of a circuit. And that's what's triggering both the dog and the fog machine. So when I trigger a DMX command, it closes it and tells the fog machine, hey, release fog, or tells the dog, hey, I need to light up. And that's being controlled via DMX there. Also going back to the arch controller, which I'll show you in just a second. One important thing if you're new to the hobby, always cap your ends. We trip many circuits without doing that. So, yeah, I believe that's it for here. Let's go ahead, follow the wires here. So along here, you'll see this. This is a very janky setup. This is our projector that projects on our garage door. It's a 4500 watt lumen, ANSI lumen projector. It's a corporate projector. This is the exact model of it, a Panasonic projector. But necessarily, it's just a corporate projector. It's only 720p, but we're running a virtual matrix on it to run a garage door matrix, and it looks great. Even though the resolution isn't like 1080 or 4K, it's plenty for running pixels and like running different graphics and stuff, and it looks great. You might be wondering why it's on this janky board and there's a tote. We were supposed to be getting an enclosure from your pixel store, but it was delayed. Said that it was going to be here before Halloween, but it's currently the 28th. So we're using a tote with plexiglass taped inside and a vent, and it's very janky, and the projector's overheating. We had to have blocks up here. It's almost 80. It's going to be 80 degrees tomorrow, so we're going to need to put a fan in here. It's very janky. So yeah, we're having an enclosure for Christmas, hopefully. It's on its way from China, where everything is coming from. I did want to show you kind of what we have going here in the back. We do have an HDMI plugged in for the projector coming from a Raspberry Pi 4. This is just a 4 gig model. You can see there's a USB cord, and what that is doing is it's running a serial port. If you don't know what serial is, it's kind of like a communication. It's a communication like plug-in, so necessarily like this can send commands to the projector, and what we're having it's doing is turning on and off, so we're not just hard cutting the power, because the lamps inside have to cool down and it needs that fan to run. We do have everything on smart outlets, but this one specifically goes for about 15 minutes longer, and it starts 15 minutes beforehand, just so the projector can get warmed up, and it can also cool down in the evening, so we're not just hard cutting it, and it breaks. It is not hooked up right now. We have to plug it in every night. We don't leave it out. Once we do get our metal enclosure from your Pixel store, we plan to leave it out, but with this janky tote, and we've been having a lot of rain, we've just been having to kind of make do with bringing it out every night, which sucks, but hopefully for Christmas we'll have the projector enclosure. One thing to note about this, a lot of people said that our garage door looks really good. And one of the things that we made sure that this projector has is both vertical and horizontal keystoning. A lot of projectors have either vertical or only horizontal, but this has both, and that makes it so the image can like maneuver a specific way to make sure the image is flat on the garage door, even though we have it on such an angle to the garage door. So that's just one tip that we have from there. And then the more lumens, the better. We thought this was a 5,000 lumen projector, but it's actually 4,500. One day maybe we'll get a more lumen projector. It is a little bit darker than the pixels on the garage, but still looks really good, and we plan to keep it. More just Ethernet wire, etc. So another new addition, there's going to be a lot of that this year. Another new addition is these 4 arches. These have been a pain in the butt. Not for anyone's fault necessarily. We bought kind of off-spec pixels from Holiday Coral, knowing that they were in either a used condition or as is, not knowing what the condition was. We fixed a lot of them. There was a lot of them that had bad bulbs, but we believe that they were in the batch that had bad epoxy, so we were replacing bulbs daily. We decided, we put a lot of money into the show already, so we went out and we just bought all new pixels for all of these. 2 of the arches are fully Wally's pixels. If you're needing pixels of any kind, we recommend Wally's. He's the only vendor that we've never had any issues with dead pixels. We did have 1 or 2, but we're close to 20,000 lights this year. And that's very good failure rate. 1 or 2 pixels for 20,000 lights. But anyways, yeah, so this one is still failing. That one's still failing. I'm trying to do repairs, just trying to get through Halloween, and then after Halloween over, these 2 arches are going to be ripped out and replaced like this one was already, which is a pain in the butt, but it is worth it just to have the peace of mind that these lights are actually going to work. So yeah, these are Gilbert Engineering spin Archies. They're the largest model. We had, these are Coro, they're unslit. We got them at the Christmas Expo in Kentucky this year. That was a great event that we went to. So yeah, there's 4 of them here. We just got all 4 of them up today. We started off with 2, then we went to 3, and then they failed, and yeah, it was a mess. But we finally got all 4 of them up, and we'll look at the controller that's controlling them a little bit later here. Here's our 2 singing pumpkins. Hopefully next year we'll have 4 equal to our Christmas trees. But behind here, last year this was a 16-port board. Trying to block the wind here. So last year this was a 16-port board. This year it's only a 4-port because it's only controlling these 2. We will be adding 1 more controller next to it for 8 ports along here for Christmas. But for Halloween we're just needing 4 ports. We're actually only wanting 1 port here, 1 port here, and then this is controlling the floodlights by the arches because we're all out of ports there. But here, let's go ahead and open this up here. So that's what it looks like inside. Just a Holiday Coral controller. We have the Ethernet jacks, and this is in a cable guard enclosure. Hard to come by, but yeah. So yeah, that is our Holiday Coral expansion board. Alrighty, I'm trying to keep my back to the wind here. So we have flood along each of the arches here. They're just pointed up at the house. They illuminate the house. It adds quite a lot to the display, and we really enjoy it. This is where a majority of the cable mess is. We try to have nice, neat, and we try to stake them down as much as possible. This just got a mess, and we're gonna leave it because we have to take all this up to mow. And it's already the 28th of October, so we're not gonna worry about it before Halloween. So yeah, all of these cables, each of these are 839 pixels, so roughly 3,200 lights, I think, 3,600. Quick math, whatever. So each of them are 4 ports. So we have a 16 port board just controlling this. And then that is in here. We've been very happy with expanding to a Genius board. These things are awesome. I love the DMX ports on them. These are the ones controlling both the fog machine and the relay board that's controlling the fog machine and the dog. It's great. We picked this up at the expo after talking to David Peace and some of the Experience Lights guys. They're great. We actually did have an issue with this. The Ethernet port on it actually died for whatever reason, and they sent us out a replacement. 0 questions asked. They said it was the first time they've ever had that, but we just couldn't get connected via LAN. They tested it, and they identified that it was a dead Ethernet port, but they were very gracious to send us a new one. No questions asked. It was great. So that is our Experience Lights board, and that's just controlling arches here. Alrighty, so now we're getting to the house, and of course the wind's starting to pick up. Alrighty, so we're getting to the house here, and the wind's picking up, of course, so I'm going to keep my back to the wind here. But we have these new window frames. They're all EMT, and something new we added this year is these MOAs, Mother of All Wreaths. They are excellent. And we actually have the ones that have the skins. So behind here you can kind of see is a Christmas wreath. So we're going to take these down after Halloween, and this is going to be ready for Christmas. This is all one frame. So we even have our blinder lights on them that we use for Halloween, we're going to use for Christmas this year. And then all the lights, it's all EMT'd. One of our security cameras. And then, yeah, it's just all nicely laid out here into one big frame, and then we're just going to mount this on the wall in the garage, and it'll be great for setup and teardown. Easy setup and teardown. This one is 600 nodes, I believe, and it's a spinner. If you don't know what a MOA is, Mother of All Wreaths from Gilbert Engineering. Those are the 12-volt off-road blinder lights, like I call them. I have a video on those. Make sure to go check it out. They're pretty cool. And then last year we had 3-inch spacing, and we're going down to 2-inch space or 1-inch spacing this year. Another thing, this was last year, but I'm not sure if they were up for Halloween when I did the video. These are our verticals for the house, and these are just on PVC, and then they're mounted with these 3D printed clips for the house that just attach onto this piece right here, and that's the only thing mounting it in. No screws, no glue. Nothing. It's just clipped on there with these 3D print brackets, and you can kind of see behind there. So we really like them. They work really well. We use a lot of 3D printed stuff, so if you don't have a 3D printer in this hobby, try to check out like a makerspace near you. Maybe a college has one, or a library, or buy a 3D printer. They're relatively cheap, especially in regards to this hobby with everything being so expensive. One of the other things I wanted to mention, we have these column matrices, and then also we have our speakers now adjusted here in front of the house, hopefully just to kind of push out more towards the street. Last year we had them close to the garage. So yeah, that's just one of our speakers. We have column matrices. Then we had so many wires running across here last year, we tried to tuck them into here, but that didn't work too well. So we went ahead and bought this cable ramp, and this has been a lifesaver. It's actually full. So all of the power cords are out here, and these are all the data wires. So all of the column matrices, the window outline, Ethernet wire, and it's just very nice to be able to open it up, and it makes everything nice and neat, and you're barely ever stepping on it, because when you go up to step, you go like that. So even if you do step on it, it's not like a major deal. It's meant to go over like cars and stuff. So, alrighty. And my dog's barking. Oh, there's a dog coming. Alright, so then there's another column matrix there. These are 1,000 node each, again from Gilbert Engineering. Love those. Another speaker. And then we have another window outline here with off-road lights. Up on the house, we have Permatrack. You can see we already have Christmas star up already. Alrighty, let's go ahead and check out this controller box in here. This is a 32 port controller here. It is a massive controller. This is based off of the Knee Family Lights design. So we're using a K16 controller with a Falcon expansion to get to all the ports. We're running, you can kind of see in there, their server power supplies, so two 1200 watt power supplies. It is seriously overkill. We also got meters in there. We got a fan, we got an outtake. Another thing we have in here is our blinder controllers. You can kind of see it in there. That's right there. You can kind of see it through the glass, LED controller. That is for our blinders that I mentioned, the off-road lights. So yeah, we have plethora of ports here. And that's the controller on the front porch. And then all of our Ethernet go into the garage here. Here's one of our power controllers. This is a Wi-Fi controller. Turns on and off all the lights. We have it scheduled and it's great. That nut wasn't tightened down. So that's what we use for that. We have another one of these over on the other side yard. We'll get to that in a minute. Again, this is a cable rat's nest. It's going to be fixed before Christmas, but we didn't have time before Halloween. Like I mentioned again, we have another one of those window outlines, another MOA, different skin though, 1 inch spacing, MOA wreath, than that. We have another vertical here, you can see with those 3D printed brackets. Those look really nice. All these wires that are going here that look like a mess that I might try to tidy up, are going into here and then through a vent. This vent is for dryers basically, and we just have a bunch of cables running through it to get into the garage. But before we go to that, we have our outline for our garage door. This is 1 inch spacing as well, mounted to EMT with some 3D printed clips that just clip on. And then we also have the blinder lights again. We have Permatrack lights up there. We have 2 moving heads. We'll get to those in a second because those are really cool. And then we have one more outline over here. And then we do have an Ethernet cable running to that side yard. So, these moving heads. I've had a lot of questions about these. So these are 90 watt LED moving heads, and we bought them from Amazon. They were 200 bucks for a pack of 2, so about 100 bucks each. How we mounted them, I'm gonna post some photos up on screen. We basically went up into the soffit and we used a closet curtain rod hanger with a top of a fence post that we use for our mega tree. And then we used a clamp, a stage clamp that's meant for lighting and trussing on there to mount the moving heads, and that's how those are mounted. They're really secure. How we mounted the globes is we basically bungee tied them around the lights, and then they just hold up there. Hasn't got any water in there. We've had really bad rainstorms and we've been solid for all that. Let's go ahead and get into the rack now. Alrighty, so in here we have our garage rack. Again, it's a mess. We have a dedicated circuit for lights, another one of those power outlets, and we have some more stuff running off of here. This is our main rack. It was a lot nicer, but then issues happened and, well, now we're here. So we have an FM receiver for our speakers that are in here. We have a Culp K8, which controls the moving headlights and then also the permanent lights. And then that all just kind of goes up there and goes out. We have another smart outlet for both the moving heads and the K8 Culp. Remember, this is where all of the networking goes. It looks very complicated only because we had a lightning strike and this switch got hit, and now all of these ports don't work, and we need all of these ports for our lighting controllers. So yeah, all of these are all lighting controllers. We have 8 out in the yard with the matrix, or the matrix, the projector, stuff like that. Requires 8 ports. This is a unified PoE 16 port switch. We have another one that we're going to replace this one after Halloween, but not before, because we don't want to mess with anything. And then this is just a normal gigabit switch. It's unmanaged, and then that's that. One thing that's been super useful is this Falcon F test to troubleshoot issues, stuff like that. It's been a very handy tool to use for lights. And then that's where that hole comes in from. And then we just have some fog juice down there from Foggy's Fog. Alrighty, so moving on to this side yard here, we have a matrix, 2-inch spacing. It's 1152 nodes, same one as last year. We love this thing. Behind it is our controller for the yard. Again, a mess of cables. This is basically the same box as over on the other side, other than it doesn't have the blinders in it, and then it's using 4 Meanwells instead of HP power supplies. So Culp K16, Falcon expansion, 32 ports. We are running 1 differential board off of it for the arches, and I'll show you that in just a second. But that's the controller for back here, and that's running all of this. Next we have our skeleton. That's our 12-foot skeleton there. Love that thing. And then in front of it is something new. This was not planned until July of this year. We went to the Christmas Expo and Gilbert Engineering. We met them, Christina and Jason. They're great. They had these props that were already pre-pushed that they used in either shows. I believe it was just for like demonstrating at shows and stuff, for like the Florida Mega Mini, stuff like that. Sitting in their trailer. They wanted to get rid of them. They marked them down. This one was 300 with lights in it, and I believe it's 1200 pixels. And lights alone, that would have been that much. So what we did is we decided, hey, let's have Skeleton pretend to hold it. So that's what it's doing. It's holding the Dragonfly. So this is a Gilbert Engineering Dragonfly. Forgot to tell you what it was. And then it has a Halloween skin on it. How we have it mounted is 2 8-foot fence posts. And then there are these 3D printed brackets that we thought were gonna work. We made them work though. I believe they're from either another country, or either they just have different fence posts, but they were supposed to clip in real nice, but you can see they're a little big. So we bought these off of a guy that designed them, and they still have zip tie holes. So what we did is we just zip tie the crap of it with some 50-pound zip ties, and it's holding. It's been there for a few weeks now, hasn't budged. We do have 4 of them. This thing is a monster. It is super heavy. So yeah, we have 4 of these connectors here, but it is awesome during the nighttime. Love the high density props. One other thing we do have is a 20-watt flood from Wally's Lights, just shining up on the skeleton ribs just to give a little glow. Before we get to the Pixel Forest, I wanted to comment, we have a donation bucket out here. This is for our local community care. They do a lot of stuff with like helping homeless, giving out food, or like low-income families. So we just have a community care donation box. Drilled some holes in the bottom so water wouldn't seep through, and then we have some gravel just there to make sure it doesn't fly away with the wind. And then we just have a 20-watt flood flashing up on it. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and get to the Pixel Forest. So this is 54 pixel stakes. It's supposed to be 55, but we're missing one, obviously. And these are all 3D printed. They use the little like garden stakes. We actually use them to strap down our wires. But yeah, so we just have them 4 rows, I believe, of 14, and they're kind of opposite space. They're not in line with each other, but it's kind of cool, something new. These we got as off-spec items from Holiday Coro, a part of a bunch of pixels that we used for the arches that no longer work. These, we believe, were just used, and they work great. So yeah, we've had no issues with them, and we got them for a discounted price, so we decided, hey, let's use them. We always said that if you're gonna add like pixel stakes, it's just adding lights to add lights, but here we are with 55 of them, well, 54. And then the last thing in our display is these arches. So the same arches as before from the other side, just the rest of them, 38 in total between this side and the other side. But we do have this expansion board, and this is a Culp expansion. Here, it does have a power power distro, that easy for me to say apparently, in it, and that's what it's using. But it's just 4 ports, and that's running the arches there. Now I can't get that on. Okay, cool. There might be some grass in there. Oh well. So yeah, that's just a 4-port differential board, and that's running back to the Culp back there. So that has been the behind the scenes of our show. We have one more part to show. It's actually in our basement. That's the FM transmitter and the show computer. And we're gonna go ahead and go down now and go ahead and show you that. Alrighty, so we are now in the basement. And for our show computer, same as last year, we're just using one of these HP business computers. Sorry for the barking. HP business computers. It has like an i7, 16 gigs of RAM. It's probably overkill for what we're doing, but it's running X schedule on a Windows 10. And then that just sits in the rack. We use AnyDesk. It's a remote software where you can remote into the computer, so we don't need any mouse and keyboard here. The last thing is our FM transmitter. We have it up high here. It's a Signtech, just one off of Amazon there. It was like 90 bucks. And even in the basement, we can get about our whole street with no issues depending on the day. For the light show, you do not need this network setup. This is just for our house, and we're kind of network nerds. So, but yeah, that has been the tour of the Halloween light show behind the scenes. Thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned for the Christmas behind the scenes and also some of the Halloween light show videos. And thanks for watching.